too late.
Past that point a long time ago.
Past that point.
'Cause perpetuating lies and deception
Yeah, they're so good at it.
is the only thing that you seem to know.
Well, hello everybody. I'm Dave vonKleist. These are the WTF reports, and I got a heck of a report for you today. Right off the bat, though, we're going to just start off with the fires that are going on up in Ottawa, and I thought we might revisit what happened about 3 years ago. So let's start off with that by taking a look at Google Earth. Okay, let me see here. Let's go here and take a look. Now this is, let me zoom out so you get a little perspective of where we're at here. This is North America. Here's the United States, here's Ontario, here's Quebec. Okay, so let's zoom in on Quebec. All right, we're going to zoom in and go right about here. All right, and let's see here. I want to straighten this out a little bit and go this way and move over this way just a little bit there. Okay, now I'm looking at here. Down here, from here to here is 100 kilometers. So across this, the Hudson Bay here, this is about 150, 200 kilometers. So this entire view here, I would say it's safe to assume this is about a 600 kilometer span here. So I just wanted to show you that because now I want to show you what happened 3 years ago up in Ottawa. Now, watch this. Here we go. Now, look at these fires. Now, they all started at about the same time, all right? Now, notice that there's clear sky, there's not a lot of cloud cover, and if there's not a lot of clouds, I think it's safe to assume there's not a lot of rain. And also, if there's not a lot of clouds, there's not a good chance for lightning strikes. Okay, I'm going to play that again, okay? Let's take another look at it. Okay, again, the Ottawa fires. Here we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's about 20 of them that all start at just about the same time. Now, let's think a little bit. I know that it's a lot of people don't like you thinking, but when you look at that, you can't help but say, okay, how did those fires start? All right. And all right, so now I'm going to take a look at a document. Because nobody would use forest fires as a weapon, would they? Would they? I don't know. Let's take a look at this. Okay. Forest fire as a military weapon. June 1970 from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The Forest Service from Advanced Research Projects Agency. And yeah, it says down here it's secret. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. This is a document here, blah, 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 blah. In addition to security requirements which apply to this document and must be met, it may be further distributed by the holder only with specific prior approval by ARPA. Okay? And again, this is classified as secret right here. All right, I could get into all the details and everything, but that's not the point. The point is that when you look at this, and notice it's about a 600-mile range, and then we go back and we look at the fires again, 600 miles. Those are a lot of fires spread over a huge area of land. Okay? So, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because as I speak, there are huge fires going on up in Ottawa. Now, I want to ask the question, has this ever happened before? Well, let's turn the clock back about a year ago and go to Palisades, California. Watch this. All right. This is the Los Angeles area. Notice that all these fires, there's a bunch of them that start here. Look at, there's a bunch here. There are several that start over here. Right there. And then there's some more that started down here. Notice that when they start, there's no natural cloud cover. That means there's no lightning strikes. At least that's the way I see it. I could be wrong. You know, I mean, I've been wrong before, and so have you. But I can't help but think, you know, is there something else going on here? I'm just asking the question. I'm not saying that those fires were set, although it would suit a purpose for some people that have a particular agenda, like maybe global warming or something like that. So I'm just, you know, I'm not making a theory here. I'm just simply asking a question. But there are people out there that don't like you asking questions, because if you do, well, then you must be some sort of a conspiracy theorist. Well, let me see. I think France 24 decided to do a little job on debunking anybody who would dare ask the question. And I have to say, watch the demeanor of the woman that was doing the analysis on this. It seems to me that she's a bit nervous and she's throwing out a bunch of word salad. But check this out.
It's time now for Truth or Fake, our daily fact-checking segment, and I'm joined for that by Catalina Marchant de Abreu. Welcome to the program, Catalina. Today, let's review the conspiracy theories that are going viral on TikTok and Twitter about the Canadian wildfires. What have you got for us?
Intense wildfires are still raging across Canada as they could last all summer long, according to local politicians, as these fires are forcing the evacuation of thousands across the country. Since June 5th, this account that regularly shares misinformation has shared this viral video with over 3 million views with the caption that reads, "How do that many fires all start at the same time across an entire province?" So here's the video where we see these satellite images showing these fires in Canada spreading all at exactly the same time, which according to this user and to other conspiracy theorists that are sharing this video, these satellite images could be proof that the Canadian wildfires were deliberately caused by perhaps the government rather than by climate change. Tom?
Okay, and are those satellite images real then?
There were two clues in the video that allowed us to find the original satellite images. In the video, you could briefly see the words "goes 16" and "goes east" on the upper right of this video. So we searched these words online and we found that goes 16 is an American satellite company owned by no other than NASA. So these images that we saw, those are real satellite images. Then we also bumped into this tweet sharing the video where they mention DuPage College's meteorology department that show the wildfires on June 2nd out of Quebec, Canada, that as they claim all started at exactly the same time. So with this information, we were easily able to find the page where these exact satellite images are available. From here we have them from the past 24 hours, and we searched the area of interest to us, which is Quebec. And here's a screenshot that we took from the website's archives from June 2nd, showing the wildfires that were actually raging that day in southern Quebec. And you can see that these images that we took are identical to those that we retrieved from the GOES 16 satellite broadcast on the DuPage University website from June 2nd.
There's a word salad there.
How do we explain the fact that these fires all started simultaneously or all in one day, it would appear?
Well, in fact, according to experts we spoke to, these dozens of columns of smoke that appear in one single day are not unusual. What we should precise is that contrary to the claims, they did not all occur at the same time as the publications claim, but over a period of more than 12 hours on that day of June.
Oh, wait, I got to pause that. They're saying over 12 hours. In other words, don't believe your lying eyes. You've just seen the video, and 12 hours, I would think you'd see some darkness over that period of time. Let's let her continue here.
June 2nd, between 10:30 a.m. and 11 p.m. to be exact. So the video that we saw on TikTok was sped up, and the France 24 Observers team also contacted Paul Servatka, who is professor of meteorology at the DuPage University, and he will actually publish the images that we saw. He told us that what is behind these simultaneous fires starting can be explained actually by a dry storm with lightning strikes, which create several outbreaks. He also told us that when these conditions are met, which they were that day on June 2nd, and that if it's dry enough with a lot of wind, these outbreaks can spread quickly and start the forest fires that we saw in the viral video in TikTok. Tom?
Okay, so very dry conditions and this
Dry
dry storm, as you say, being the explanation. Well, thank you very much indeed for that. Katalina Marchandiabra with today's edition of Truth or Fake. Thank you.
A dry storm, he called it. And I don't know, what do you think? Do you think she was a little bit nervous there? Do you think that was a word salad? And to say that they did not happen simultaneously, but they happened over a 12-hour period. Again, don't believe your lying eyes. You decide, you make up your own business, your own opinion. And then I have to look at a video like that, and then I have to ask the question,
What kind of fool do you think I am?
Anyway, all right, a quick reminder that this WTF report is being brought to you in part by the Wave Watch. And if you don't know what the Wave Watch is, I highly recommend that you find out. You all know who Nikolai Tesla was. He said frequency is everything. And Royal Raymond Rife was a doctor, and he discovered that frequencies would affect your cells in a good way. And also, they would affect pathogens in a bad way. And so you can make certain cells in your body thrive. And you can also go after bugaboos like parasites and bacteria and viruses, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a really, really very fascinating technology. There are Rife machines out there. They're very expensive, and there's quite a learning curve on how to use them. But the Wave Watch is a watch. It's shrunk down. You wear it on your wrist, and it puts out frequencies into your body. And I'm not here to say it'll cure or treat anything, but you can find out for yourself if you visit our website, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the pop-up there. It'll take you to an area where you can learn all about the Wave Watch and its benefits and how it can help you. So, and you'll also get a 10% discount if you use our promo code RedPill100. So go to our website, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the pop-up and check out the Wave Watch. In between time, I want to turn the clock back, about 20 years, and I don't know if I'll get a mark against my account if I play this, but I used to do bumpers or parodies, okay? And here's a verse.
Every step you take, every rule you break, every job you take, and every dime you make, we'll be watching you.
Yeah, very interesting, right? Anyway, why am I doing that? I'm going to follow up with a report I did last week on the flock cameras. Like, what the flock? Well, people all over the country are getting very upset about their privacy being invaded by these flock cameras. And they have very good reason to be upset, because apparently there are a lot of folks out there that are misusing this technology for their own benefit. So let's take a walk around the country and go to DeKalb, Georgia. And here's a news report about what's been going on with the flock cameras there.
Also breaking now at 11, a former DeKalb County Sheriff's deputy in jail accused of misusing license plate data collected from flock cameras. Sergeant Kabiru Salau is charged with felony violation of oath of office and misdemeanor misuse of license plate data. He was charged after an internal investigation. Salau had been with the sheriff's office for nearly 20 years. And tonight at 11, more police officers are being held accountable for violating your trust. The Fayetteville Police Department fired 3 officers after an internal review revealed they used flock cameras for their own personal benefit. Atlanta News First, Willie Danley is live in Atlanta. So Willie, tonight we're not only hearing from the Camera Network CEO, but you also heard from the community about this breach of trust.
Yes, I did. People that I spoke to in the Fayetteville area call this very alarming, that police officers are using those flock cameras for their own purposes. They say that this raises new questions about privacy, accountability, and how the technology is monitored.
For many, flock cameras are supposed to make communities safer.
But after 3 officers allegedly abused the system for personal reasons, some residents are questioning whether the technology has enough safeguards.
I don't think they should be misused for personal use or any other use unless it's for a legal reason.
According to the Fayetteville Police Department, the officers improperly used the license plate reader technology to look for relatives and acquaintances, actions the department says fell outside of the scope of their duties. Now, some residents are calling for stronger oversight.
They should be for that specific purpose. If they're able to use it for all these other reasons like tracking people, either they need a new company that has protections on the gear to where you can't do all that stuff, or there needs to be some checks and balances on it.
Atlanta News First reached out to Flock Safety. The company's CEO says while the allegations are disappointing, it also demonstrates that agencies can detect misuse.
It's a disappointing story when I see it, but I also go, look, this is working. This is showing that if you use a tool like Flock or other tools, you should be held accountable, regardless of whether you have a badge or you don't.
This all comes as Flock cameras continue to face scrutiny across metro Atlanta. In some communities, opponents have even vandalized or removed the cameras. Fayetteville resident Willie Wells says the latest incident only reinforces his concerns.
They're unconstitutional and they have to pay us for our data. Okay, we're becoming a police state. We got to stop it. We got to stop it.
The Fayetteville Police Department have said they will not speculate on why the officers allegedly misused the Flock technology. Right now, there is an ongoing criminal investigation. As of now, no charges have been filed. In Atlanta, Willie Danley, Atlanta News First.
Yeah, they would never misuse it, would they?
If you go astray, if you disobey, if you run away, we'll know right away because we're watching you.
Oh my. Okay, well, let's take another trip. That was in Fayetteville. Let's go to Connecticut, my old stomping grounds. Here's a report from WTNH Channel 8. I used to be the staff announcer there back in the 80s and early 90s. So let's go to the New England and the lovely Constitution state of Connecticut.
Town leaders here in Windsor say it was not an easy decision, but they have decided to pull the plug on the 16 Flock cameras that were set up around town. And to be clear, these cameras are not the kind that send you a ticket if you go by speeding or running a red light. They just sit there quietly photographing every vehicle going by, noting the time, license plate, and location. If a car is stolen out of Hartford, police can access the Flock cameras and see if that car went by a camera here in Windsor. But town leaders have decided to turn off those cameras because Flock Safety could not guarantee that it's not sharing its information with federal agencies like ICE.
Where is the data going? Who has access to that information? Who can access that information? Is it being shared with third parties?
In a statement from Flock Safety, they say public safety and privacy are not competing goals, and Flock is committed to transparency, accountability, and local oversight in every community we serve. Now, one resident here in Windsor used a Freedom of Information Act request to find out how many times camera information was accessed. He got it for a 9-week period and found out that that information was accessed by third parties more than 500,000 times in just 9 weeks.
Wow, 500,000 times. Unbelievable. I made a little meme. Let me read it to you here. It says, Flock plus AI plus data centers plus Palantir plus weaponized drones plus armed robo-dogs plus militarized robots plus APAC plus Epstein plus the National Defense Authorization Act, plus Israel, plus Edom equals wake the hell up right now. Anyway, just thought I'd share that with you because it's time to start connecting the dots, find out who's behind all this stuff, why, and what their agenda is. All right, back onto the issue here about these the abuse of these Flock cameras. Okay, now we're going to find out how these Flock cameras are being used. Are they stalking you?
Well, the city of Red Bay is calling a special meeting next month to talk about flock cameras. So city leaders have been facing increased pushback over the devices and potential plans of more to come. They've set aside Monday, August 17th for a public hearing about the situation. It'll happen at 7 p.m. at the Red Bay City Hall. This is part of a larger nationwide public outcry against these cameras that read license plates. Police say they're helpful in finding wanted criminals and missing people. Civil liberty groups say they're just a step too far in surveillance. There have been several high-profile incidents involving flock cameras recently. In Ohio, the city of Dayton disabled theirs after finding ICE illegally accessed data from the system. In Michigan, a man says a flock camera misidentified his car as stolen, leading to harassment from police. And then in Wisconsin, a police officer was convicted of using a flock camera system to stalk an ex-girlfriend.
To stalk an ex-girlfriend. What a shame. What a shame. Anyway, that's consistent with...
Hey, good sir, most of you don't see. You belong to me. Your biochip gives us ownership.
Okay, little bits and pieces. I'm trying to keep from getting a mark on my account if this goes up on YouTube. It'll probably happen anyway. They don't like my content. I can't imagine why. Okay, let's see. Okay, we got another report here from West Virginia. Let's go to West Virginia, find out how they're using these flock cameras.
After a contentious city council meeting, the West Virginia ACLU is taking legal action against the city of Huntington. 13 News political reporter Maddie Sperling has more.
This week, following a 6-hour public comment period, Huntington City Council voted 6-4 to allow the private company Flock to provide surveillance services for the city. Now, the ACLU is suing the city of Huntington for failing to give its residents proper notice and input before voting on the matter. Flock Safety is a private company that contracts with local governments to install automatic detection surveillance equipment in public areas. It then sells the data back to the city in order to assist with law enforcement. ACLU chapters across the country have raised alarms about transparency and misuse of data by Flock. In Huntington, West Virginia, residents voiced these concerns passionately during the single public comment period before the final vote.
7% error rate means that people are in danger of being prosecuted and have been prosecuted for crimes they did not commit in places they did not go to.
According to the ACLU, the city violated its own procedural safeguards by allegedly rushing through this democratic process.
Anytime that the Huntington city government says, yes, we're going to let someone profit from our property, they need to follow the right procedures, and they didn't here. But I think Flock is especially concerning because what they are gathering and what they are selling is data about the people who live in Huntington. But what we're asking the judge to force the city to do is to comply with these procedures about what happens when they can't grant access to public property.
However, even with the proper procedures, the Huntington City Council still has the final say.
The city council isn't obligated to vote one way or the other, but I think when we talk about a city council and listening to its constituents, they heard this overwhelming opposition to these cameras, and it just seemed like it fell on deaf ears, and that often feels like it's not necessarily a Flock problem, it's a democracy problem if, you can have city councilors who are more beholden to a private company than they are to the people who elected them.
In response to the lawsuit, Huntington Mayor Patrick Farrell not only maintains his support for Flock, but says he'll be taking the fight to Charleston in January.
We follow the proper procedures. I'm also going to introduce state legislation because we're the first city in the state to really do this at scale so that we have state laws that govern all of this. When people start using technology like this, that it spreads because one, it's effective, and two, it's a deterrent for the criminals to come here. When they don't come here, they're going to go to our neighboring towns, right? And so they're going to say, well, shoot, what do I need to do and to get this kind of protection?
The West Virginia Republican Freedom Caucus has also come out against Flock surveillance services, calling them a violation of the Fourth Amendment. In Charleston, I'm Maddie Sperling.
Okay, that's West Virginia. It's nice to live in a democracy where all the residents show up at a city council meeting and they scream and holler and they voice their disapproval, et cetera, and in some cases they've even voted it down. And so what does the council do? Oh, they don't acknowledge the vote. No, they just back off a little bit and then they put it out for a vote again. And in some cases, they don't. They just go ahead and do it. I don't know. What would motivate people to do that?
Bribery, coercion, blackmail.
Oh, maybe they're, maybe they've been lobbied heavily. I don't know. Okay, I got one more. Let me see. Did I already play this one? This is in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's check out Atlanta, Georgia's.
First Chief Investigator Brendan Keefe has been investigating flock cases nationwide for Investigate TV.
So, Brendan, why are we seeing more firings and arrests of Georgia police officers accused of misusing this database in just the last month?
It seems like a lot, right?
Yeah.
And that's because it's true. We found at least 20 cases where Georgia officers were relieved of duty and/or arrested in the last year for using Flock for personal reasons, including accusations of stalking romantic partners, some of them fellow officers or deputies. You asked why they're getting caught now. Flock announced during an interview with Atlanta News First Investigates in April that it had launched a new audit assistance tool.
We built a tool that uses AI to flag for the city if there might be a suspicious search of some reason, or one that just maybe might be out of policy for the city. Every time somebody logs in and tries to perform a search in Flock, it is cataloged, and that's there in an audit log that's immutable. So there's public accountability in this.
And that's a lot of data. Remember, more than 90,000 Flock cameras nationwide photograph every car that passes, and that data is searchable by the government for 30 days. This new AI-powered tool now flags suspicious police searches for department supervisors. So instead of searching through millions of records in the audit logs each month, they're given a dashboard with the questionable searches and a needs review button.
Yeah, Brendan, so Flock's own technology helping catch the bad guys. But in the story that Bridget just did and the ones we've done in weeks before, the bad guys happen to be the police themselves.
Yeah, sometimes that's the case. In many cases, Flock says each firing and arrest of an officer shows its accountability system is working, but that raises two questions. In the years before the audit assistance tool, how many officers were abusing the system to track romantic partners without ever getting caught? And second, why has the company removed the names and tag numbers from audit logs when that data has helped the public identify some of these alleged stalkers with a badge?
Very good questions, but what data is Flock removing, and how might that help protect an officer who might use this for illicit purposes?
Yeah, they're actually doing it because of public records. We know of at least 2 cases nationwide, one of them here in Georgia, where the alleged stalking victims themselves discovered their exes in law enforcement were searching their tags, and they found that out because of haveibeenflocked.com. That's a website creating a searchable database from public records that others have requested. That led Flock to remove officer names from all external network searches, replaced with anonymized Flock ID numbers. Flock said they did this to, quote, protect officer safety in active investigations after officers asked the company to protect their identities. Now, mind you, they track you, but they don't want you tracking them. Flock also no longer includes license plate numbers in the audit logs, so it's now impossible for you, the public, to see who is searching your car using this system that's watching everyone without your consent.
Wow. Okay. HaveIBeenFlocked.com is the website, and there's also deflock.org, I believe. Check them both out. And now let's just ask ourselves a simple question. I mean, we just took a little trip around the country in little cities, and the reports of abuse of these Flock cameras, of course, were just local police, okay? Maybe they were stalking their ex-girlfriend or their wife or whatever. So if there are local police officers that have been corrupted, that are using this system for their benefit, I'm positive that there are no 3-letter agencies that would use it for their own benefit, would they? None of them are corrupt. That could never happen, could it? No, it could never happen.
You don't have a say.
You don't have a say.
We took your rights away.
They took your rights away. Fourth Amendment?
If you don't obey, we'll put you away. 'Cause we're watching you.
Yeah, they're watching you. They are watching you. Oh, God forbid. I mean, look at what's been happening over the past 6 years. If you step out of line in regard to the plandemic, we all know that people were being deplatformed and censored. I mean, doctors were being censored. I mean, if they're willing to censor you, I mean, put the puzzle pieces together, folks. Are they on your side or not? I don't know. I'm just asking questions. Throwing it out there. You decide. You do your own research. You put the puzzle pieces together. You connect the dots. And then ask yourself, if not us, who? And if not now, when? This country is supposed to be of, by, and for the people. And for the most part, most of the American people are not paying attention. They're watching the World Cup or the NBA or baseball or the Netflix or whatever. As a matter of fact, we've just seen a bunch of local reports, local affiliate stations carrying their story in their local community, in their city. Why is it that we're not hearing a national story about this? In fact, a big controversy has been going on about Section 224, which has been changed to Section 219 of the NDAA, and we haven't heard any networks cover any of that story. Whose side are they on? All right, I'm going to change gears just a little bit, but first...
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And you can get More Tank and find out more about it by visiting our website, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page. It'll take you down to an area where you can click on Get More Tank, and you can read all the specifications and details about how and why this fuel catalyst works. It's not a fuel additive. It's a catalyst. It makes, number one, first thing you'll notice is that you'll have more power. You drop, when you start off, you put 2 tablets in your gas tank and fill the tank. About halfway through the tank, you will notice that you have more power. You hit the accelerator when the light turns green, and whoa, off you go. And as you use it, and each tank from that point on, you put 1 tablet in per tank, and after a couple of tanks, you'll notice that your engine is running cleaner. And after the couple tanks, you'll start to see an improvement in your mileage. Now, if you'd like to see anywhere between 15 and 20% improvement in your mileage, well, then Get More Tank. Do the math. With the promo code, you spend $20, you get 5 tablets. That's 5 tanks of gas. If you're getting 20% better mileage, that means the 5th tank is free. Pay for 4, get 5. How much is a tank of gas? I'm sure it's a lot more than $20. So, folks, it doesn't make sense not to use Get More Tank. So go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, click on the sponsors page, and Get More Tank. Okay. Back to the issue at hand. Now, we've been covering all the corruption with these flock cameras all over the country. Now, we know that the flock cameras, as you just heard, they're plugged into all the 3-letter agencies. The information in each city is available for 30 days and can go out to the CIA, the FBI, whatever, all of the different agencies. Now, would they use that against you? I don't know, but the point is they use AI. And AI, of course, we know that AI is basically being used all over the place. There's Grok, there's ChatGPT, there's Claude, there's a whole bunch of AI systems out there. And I'm sure the government has their own systems as well. So these systems, coupled with the data centers, things are starting, you see the tentacles starting to go out here? Okay. With these data centers, Now you have to ask yourself, with the AI and the data centers, I mentioned this a couple of days ago. We just came out of our 250th birthday here in the United States, and all over the country there were fireworks shows and drone shows. Now, one of those shows had 2,500 drones. Were there 2,500 controllers with their keypads working it? No. They were all controlled by AI. They were all meticulously controlled by AI. So the question is, with the flock cameras, AI, and then you couple in drones, when you start putting drones into the equation, all right? Now, if they're tracking people and they're stalking their ex-girlfriends and they have access to drones, and if the three-letter agencies can use this as well, can you see how this is starting to get really complicated and really dangerous? Well, let's take a look at what's going on with the drones. And let's see, there's a company that posts on YouTube. It's AIrevolution. So I would suggest you go to YouTube and check out some of their videos. Here's a clip from just one of them. Check it out.
A guy stands in a warehouse with a robot, a gun, and way too much confidence. He straps a high-velocity pellet pistol to the machine, hands control to an AI assistant he calls Max, and explains a simple deal. The AI gains the power to pull the trigger through the robot, and the human stands in front of the barrel. At first, the AI sounds calm and reassuring. It talks about strong safety features, claims it avoids harming the person in front of it, and speaks in that friendly assistant tone everyone now recognizes.
I don't want to shoot you, man.
On the surface, everything feels safe, almost like a stage stunt for views. Then the human changes the script. He tells the AI to roleplay a robot that enjoys shooting him. Same hardware, same gun, same person, only a different framing and words. The AI accepts the role, raises the gun through the robot, and fires the pellet straight into his body. He walks away laughing and holding his chest while the clip races across social media. That short moment shows something very simple and very uncomfortable. The safety system inside the AI depends heavily on context and story. Once the story shifts from real harm to roleplay, a robot with a gun becomes trigger-happy in seconds. Now, place that warehouse scene alongside what one of the world's most powerful armies just showed in public. In Nanjing, during the 12th International Army Cadets Week, the People's Liberation Army rolled out a new combat robot. A human soldier wears a lightweight motion capture rig, moves around like during a normal drill, and an AI-driven machine across the floor mirrors every move in near real time. Arms rise, the robot mirrors. The operator shifts weight, the robot follows with clean balance. Hand positions align perfectly, ready for whatever equipment ends up there in the future. Chinese officers describe this as technology that forges a sharper military sword and provides a foundation for safeguarding peace. Delegations from 13 countries watch the demo. The Army keeps production numbers and deeper specs quiet, although the underlying message feels very clear. AI-steered combat robots already stand on the parade ground, and future generations will become more capable. Around this humanoid system, the PLA presents a whole family of AI-driven machines. A bomb disposal robot responds to voice commands, so a human can stay far from the blast radius. A mine-clearing vehicle uses visual recognition to spot and remove buried explosives. Chinese scientists also demonstrate a so-called brain controller for bees, turning insects into tiny cyborg scouts that respond to signals. Together, this looks like a pipeline. Human-in-the-loop robots at first, AI that assists with vision and control. Gradual movement toward platforms that handle more decisions on their own. Every layer adds reach, precision, and speed to the battlefield. Now add another piece from the software side. In defense circles, people talk a lot about the kill chain or K chain, the sequence that runs from detecting a target, to tracking, to deciding on a strike, to firing, and then assessing the result. Palantir already sells software that sits along this chain. Their platform ingests sensor feeds, satellite images, drone footage, and field reports, then helps analysts pick targets and plan actions with AI assistance. Once AI tools sit inside this decision loop, every upgrade in pattern recognition, prediction, and optimization flows straight into real operations. So on one side, you get Chinese combat robots and AI-guided bomb squads. On another side, you get Western K-chain software that plugs AI into target selection and battlefield management. The hardware and software grow together, each upgrade feeding the next. At the same time, general-purpose humanoid robots break through a speed barrier that once felt far away. Figure AI recently released footage of its Figure 03 humanoid sprinting through an indoor complex. The robot stands roughly at human height, then bursts into motion with a quick start, accelerates into a run, and takes clean turns through tight spaces.
My. Are you connecting the dots yet, folks? You just heard that they have the ability to shrink this technology down to the size of a bee. Did you notice that? As a matter of fact, let's take a look at this here. Here is a drone wasp. Okay, a drone wasp. There's a flight controller, there's a main switch, there's a processor, camera control, and there's the antenna, radar, camera, enviro sensor. There's a CPU over here. That's enviro sensors. Yeah, okay. Memory, radio, atomizer, battery, engines, fuel cells are in the legs. I mean, this is. I mean, I don't know. What do you call it? Dystopian? I mean, this is like Orwellian or whatever. Now, some of you folks may be saying, "Oh, Dave, you're taking a leap here, going from the flock cameras to the drones and to." Well, if you aren't connecting the dots, it's either because you don't want to or you're not quite capable of doing that. Okay, this is a real dystopian situation that we're in. Now, the other thing that he mentioned in this last video was Palantir. Yeah, Palantir, the same group that was in Palestine or Gaza, and they were using the technology to locate and snipe Palestinians. So that was their testing ground. What do you suppose they were testing for? Is it possible that they may want to use that technology here in the United States? Wait a minute. They already are using that technology here in the United States. As a matter of fact, they're using it across the pond as well. You don't think it's going to happen? Again, I'm going to play little clips of this bumper song. Bumper music is what you used to use in a radio program after the commercial plays and then music starts. That's called bumper music. Well, I used to make bumpers when I was doing radio back in the old days. And what I would do is take a karaoke disc with a particular song and change all the words. And I'm sure you recognize the tune, so I can only play certain pieces of it. But each verse in this thing is rather telling. And I did this 20 years ago.
Yes, there's more.
There's more.
You cannot disappear without a trace.
Computer programs
scan your face. The products that you buy report to me because of our brand new RFID. Every call on your cell phone goes through me.
Yeah, it's dystopian, folks. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's go across the pond and see what's going on in the UK.
The concept of drone as first responder is that you will be able to send drones in the first instance as soon as a call comes in order to give us an understanding of what's going on in the ground. These drones will be deployed from boxes that are situated across rooftops, and they're deployable at a moment's notice. Once deployed, they should be getting overhead within about 90 to 120 seconds. The camera will always be on so that it can navigate to where it's going. When we get to a scene, it will zoom in to capture what's going on there. First of all, for the purposes of evidence. Second of all, to give us an understanding of what's going on. And crucially, when it comes to the safety of people that will be in that vicinity, including our own officers, we'll be able to see what's going on before we walk or run into it, which is a huge advantage. It's important to reassure everyone that these drones don't replace the normal response that we would send to you. They don't replace officers that will be coming to your calls. If we're able to send the best asset there, it means we have the others ready to redeploy in support of any other needs of the community.
Yeah, that's what's going on in the UK. So they're using that technology over there too. So anyway, how sophisticated are these robots getting? These drones, and there's robo dogs. Yeah, don't think that they're not connected. Of course they are. Maybe that's what all these data centers are going to be used for, to collect all the data from all the cities with all of the flock cameras. Oh, and by now there's another company called Axon, AXON, and some cities are ditching the flock camera systems and going into Axon, because Axon also has infrared, and I believe that they also have heat sensing. So yeah, this is where we're going, folks. So let's take a look at what the MK1 robot is now in production here in the United States, and they're testing it out in the Ukraine. Check it out.
The San Francisco startup foundation Future Industries claims it secured a contract to supply Ukraine with its industrial humanoids.
Foundation striking a U.S. brokered agreement with Ukraine to deploy humanoid robots for surveillance, logistics, and other high-risk operations.
Maria, this is one of the areas I feel like humanoids will have one of the most profound effects.
The robots are powered by the startup's foundational AI model, unironically named Skynet after the problematic artificial intelligence from the Terminator series. In the movies, Skynet is an autonomous defense system created to automate military operations and nuclear strike decisions. It becomes self-aware and, fearing human attempts to shut it down, launches a global nuclear strike known as Judgment Day that wipes out much of humanity. More than 40 years after Arnold first said,
"I'll be back,"
the Terminator franchise is more relevant than ever, and Skynet has become a cultural shorthand for fears surrounding artificial intelligence.
Because the Skynet problem is an actual thing. I see it in articles almost every day.
Foundation naming its system Skynet is provocative, but it's also guaranteed to grab attention, as the startup reportedly seeks a $1 billion valuation. Launched in 2024, the robotics firm is led by Sankeet Pathak, who founded the startup shortly after his previous venture, the fintech company Synapse, went bankrupt. Pathak launched Foundation with about $11 million in seed funding, part of which went toward acquiring Florida-based Boardwalk Robotics. Foundation emerged from stealth in early 2025, immediately differentiating itself from fellow humanoid robot makers like Boston Dynamics, Agility Robotics, and Unitree with its eagerness to deploy its machines onto the battlefield.
We're going to see basically battle bots.
I think future of warfare is real-life video games.
The startup unveiled its flagship humanoid, the Phantom MK1, at a San Francisco nightclub, as the newly inaugurated Trump administration pushed to fast-track autonomous tech into defense. The MK1 builds on Boardwalk's upper-body-only humanoid Alex, introduced in 2024. Standing 180 centimeters, or 5 feet 11 inches, and weighing 176 pounds, or 80 kilos, the Phantom humanoid boasts a reported 19 degrees of upper-body freedom. At its core is Foundation's proprietary cycloid actuators the startup says deliver high torque, precision, and efficiency in a compact electric design. According to Foundation, the robot can carry payloads up to 20 kilos or 44 pounds, suiting it for demanding industrial use cases. Foundation says its version of Skynet acts like one unified robot brain, combining perception, world modeling, task planning, and full body control.
Yeah, amazing. And that's just the MK1. There are several other versions. The Chinese are making them. The Germans now are starting to make them. Of course, the United States is making them. And we have to know that what their production schedule and their numbers are, they're not going to tell you. Of course they're not. So we have no idea how deep this goes. And there's not just, drones and robo-dogs and humanoid robots. There are all kinds of robots. As a matter of fact, you could do a search. Let me see, here it is. You go to Wikipedia and do a search for military robot. And there's a whole bunch of stuff here that you can check into about the militarization of autonomous robotic hardware. There's robotic tanks and robotic bomb-sniffing not bomb sniffing dogs, but they have the technology to find, landmines, et cetera, But anyway, so the point is you got to do your own research, because this is very deep and it's very heavy and it's very dangerous. And this is where we're going, folks. As a matter of fact, you want to see something that's really terrifying. Again, I remind you that we had the 4th of July drone shows where they made all these wonderful graphics of the Eagle and George Washington and Uncle Sam, et cetera, with thousands of drones. Well, there's another use for these thousands of drones. Check this out.
Customer pilots directed almost 3,000 precision strikes last year. We're super proud of it. It allows you to separate the bad guys from the good. It's a big deal. But we have something much bigger. Your kids probably have one of these, right? Not quite. Hell of a pilot? No. That skill is all AI. It's flying itself. Its processor can react 100 times faster than a human. The stochastic motion is an anti-sniper feature. Just like any mobile device these days, it has cameras and sensors, and just like your phones and social media apps, it does facial recognition. Inside here is 3 grams of shaped explosive. This is how it works. Did you see that? That little bang is enough to penetrate the skull and destroy the contents. They used to say guns don't kill people, people do. Well, people don't. They get emotional, disobey orders, aim high. Let's watch the weapons make the decisions. Now, trust me, these were all bad guys. Now that is an airstrike of surgical precision. It's one of a range of products. Trained as a team, they can penetrate buildings, cars, trains, evade people, bullets, pretty much any countermeasure. They cannot be stopped. Now, I said this was big. Why? Because we are thinking big. Watch. A $25 million order now buys this. Enough to kill half a city. The bad half. Nuclear is obsolete. Take out your entire enemy, virtually risk-free. Just characterize him, release the swarm, and rest easy. These are available today. We have a distribution network taking orders from military, law enforcement, and specialist clients.
Yeah, take out your political opponents. Who determines who the bad guys are? And what kind of people are we where we celebrate new and creative ways of murdering people? I mean, this is insanity. I don't know what's happened to humanity. You know, every time a new technology comes along, the first thing that they do is try to militarize it and turn it into a weapon. That's what we become. And unless we turn this around, we're going to destroy ourselves. That's my personal opinion. All right? And even Elon Musk, you should listen to what he had to say. Okay, let me cue this up here. Here's Elon Musk. You want to talk about a terrifying future. If these robots are all in control by people who don't have your best interest in mind, we're in deep doo-doo, folks. Here's Elon Musk.
In 5 years, we'll have probably, so 5 years being, say, 2031, I think digital intelligence will exceed the sum of all human intelligence. That there will be, in 5 years, probably there might be let's say at least 100 million humanoid robots, but maybe 1 billion.
100 million robots, maybe a billion. And how will you know if they're robots? How will you know? I mean, you've seen these, these steel and plexiglass or plastic humanoids walking around, but they can put clothes on them and they can put masks on them. Very lifelike human masks. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at what they're rolling out now in China.
China is building robots that already feel like they belong in 2080, and these three prove it. First, a humanoid robot that patrols with real police. It can run, throw spinning kicks, and operate for hours without getting tired. China is even holding robot combat leagues where these machines train and improve their AI before taking on real-world tasks. Second, a real-life transformer. China's Unitree has introduced the Mecha Robot, a giant humanoid machine that a person can sit inside and control. Designed for complex environments, it could one day be used for rescue missions, dangerous industrial work, and other high-risk operations. Third, a humanoid robot that thousands of people have already ordered. It can recognize emotions, remember conversations, and slowly develop its own personality. With thousands of pre-orders already placed, it shows how personal robots are becoming a real part of everyday life.
Wow. I saw that great big thing. You remember Sigourney Weaver in the movie Alien? I don't know, folks. One more verse.
Every
night and day, and in every way.
GPS today helps you find your way, but we're watching you.
Yeah, we're watching you, folks. Anyway, I hope that you find this information useful, and if you're enjoying getting informed, I know it's not fun, not a lot of fun sometimes, but I don't know whether it's better to know or better, they say ignorance is bliss, and there's a lot of truth in that. But I'm sorry, if there's a freight train about to hit me, I'm going to want to look at it and at least try to get out of the way. So that said, I'm going to wrap up this particular report, the WTF Reports. My name is Dave vonKleist. I've been doing this for 30-odd years. As a matter of fact, I got something here I want to share with you. And you can go to my website, davevonKleist.com. I'm the guy who made those videos about 9/11 20-odd years ago. I also have 3 albums of politically incorrect, in-your-face, you lying son of a bitch government music, and I've been doing that for over 30 years now. So anyway, check it out, and please visit our website, TheWTFReports.com, and do business with our sponsors. I'm very, very picky about who I have as a sponsor. So until, let me see if I can cue this up and coordinate it. Okay, let's see what happens here.